When you think about life and success, one of the biggest illusions people fall into is believing that progress will come while staying comfortable. The truth is, your comfort zone is your biggest enemy, and every single day it works silently against your growth. When you wake up and repeat the same routines, make the same choices, avoid the same risks, and seek the same safety nets, you are not living. You are simply existing. The comfort zone is seductive. It whispers in your ear that everything is fine as it is, that there is no need to step out, no need to risk embarrassment, failure, or rejection. But here lies the trap. Comfort zones do not expand on their own. The longer you remain in them, the tighter they close around you until you are trapped in a life of mediocrity without even realizing it. Most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they never challenge themselves enough to discover what they are capable of. Think about it. How many times have you avoided doing something because it made you uncomfortable? Maybe you didn't speak up in a meeting. Maybe you didn't apply for that opportunity. Maybe you didn't face that person you needed to confront, or maybe you simply chose to delay a difficult task. At that moment, it felt like you were protecting yourself, but in reality, you were weakening your courage and giving more power to your fears. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you train your mind to settle, and that habit becomes your destiny. Greatness has never been born from comfort. Every innovator, every entrepreneur, every leader who has left a mark on this world has done so by constantly stepping beyond what felt safe. Success is not about what you already know or what you already can do. It's about discovering who you can become when you push past fear. The person you are today is only a fraction of what you could be, and the bridge between who you are and who you could become is built by daily challenges. If you never test your limits, how will you ever know your true potential? The mind has an incredible ability to adapt, but it only adapts when it is stretched. Just like muscles in the body grow when they are stressed beyond their current capacity, your mind expands when you expose it to new, uncomfortable, even scary situations. The problem is, most people run from this stress. They run from the very thing that could make them stronger. They want growth without pain, learning without failure, progress without discomfort, but that has never been the law of life. Growth demands discomfort. Evolution demands challenge. You might think of your comfort zone as a warm room in the middle of a freezing winter. It feels safe inside, but if you stay there forever, you never discover the world beyond the walls. You never build resilience against the cold. You never find the tools to survive outside, and you never experience the beauty waiting beyond that room. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, even if it's just for a moment, you are training yourself to handle more of life, to adapt to more circumstances, to lead yourself into more opportunities. Fear is often the mask that your comfort zone wears. When something scares you, whether it's speaking in public, starting a business, confronting a challenge, or admitting a mistake, it's usually a signal that you are facing growth. Fear is not the enemy, avoidance is. The fear will shrink when you act despite it, but it will grow into a monster when you run from it. The longer you avoid a challenge, the more terrifying it becomes, even if the challenge itself never changes. Challenging yourself every day doesn't always mean doing something massive. It doesn't mean quitting your job overnight or taking wild risks. It means deliberately doing something that stretches you beyond what feels easy. It might be waking up earlier than usual, approaching someone you've been avoiding, saying no to something you normally give into, or pushing yourself to learn a skill you've been afraid of. Each small challenge builds momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Over time, these daily challenges shape a mindset that thrives on growth rather than security. The truth is, comfort is temporary, but regret is permanent. The things you avoid today for the sake of comfort will come back years later as regret, and regret weighs far heavier than the discomfort of any challenge. You may feel safe avoiding risk now, but eventually you will face the painful realization of what you could have been, what you could have built, and the opportunities you let slip away. The question you must ask yourself every day is simple. Will I choose comfort today or growth? That choice, repeated day after day, is what determines your destiny. When you break free from your comfort zone, you don't just change your results, you change your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone capable, resilient, and strong. The confidence you gain is not from reading books or hearing motivational words. It's earned through action. Every time you step out of comfort, you prove to yourself that you can handle life, that you can create, that you can lead, that you can rise. And this self-belief is the foundation of every achievement you will ever build. Most people believe that the word yes is always positive, but in reality, the wrong yes can quietly destroy your potential and rob you of your destiny. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve your higher purpose, you are saying no to the things that truly matter. Think about how many times in life you've agreed to something simply because it was easier than saying no. You said yes to distractions, yes to people who drained your energy, yes to opportunities that looked safe but kept you stuck, yes to habits that gave you temporary comfort but long-term pain. Slowly, without realizing it, those yeses pile up and create a life of mediocrity. They build walls around your future and keep you walking in circles, wondering why success never comes closer. The real challenge of growth is not in knowing what to say yes to. It's in having the courage to say no to the wrong things. People fail not because of rejection, but because of distraction. They scatter their energy in too many directions, agreeing to everything except the one thing that will truly change their life. A person who cannot say no becomes a prisoner of other people's agendas. Instead of building their own destiny, they spend their days fulfilling someone else's vision. And the tragedy is that they call it being busy, when in reality it is just being lost, saying yes to every opportunity, every request, and every impulse is the fastest way to remain average. Average people chase everything, while successful people focus on the few things that matter. When you lack the courage to say no, you give away your power, your time, and your energy to things that keep you comfortable but never help you grow. This is why so many people live lives of quiet frustration. They wonder why they feel stuck, but the truth is, they are trapped by their own inability to filter their choices. The wrong yes often comes disguised as something harmless. It might be another hour of scrolling through your phone, another meal you don't need, another invitation you don't want, another task that doesn't align with your goals. On the surface, these seem small, but they are costly. Every yes to a distraction is a no to your dream. Every yes to procrastination is a no to progress. Every yes to comfort is a no to growth. Life is always a trade-off, and the quality of your future is decided by what you are willing to decline today. You must learn to value your time as your greatest currency. Time is the one resource you can never earn back. Once it is gone forever. If you do not guard it, others will waste it for you. This is why discipline is not about punishment, it is about protection. Saying no is not about being rude, it is about being responsible. It is about respecting yourself enough to choose what truly matters over what only feels good in the moment. There will be times when saying no feels uncomfortable, when it means disappointing others, when it means standing alone. But every great destiny is built by those who had the courage to stand apart. If you want to change your life, you must stop living by the expectations of others. You cannot say yes to everyone and expect to live a life that is authentically yours. You cannot please the world and still fulfill your potential. The two paths do not align. The power of no is not just about what you reject. It is about what you make space for. When you say no to distractions, you create space for focus. When you say no to negative influences, you create space for confidence. When you say no to easy comfort, you create space for powerful growth. Your destiny is not written by the number of yeses you say, but by the clarity of the no's you enforce. The more selective you are with your yes, the sharper your path becomes. Think of your life as a garden. If you say yes to every seed, your soil will be overcrowded, and nothing will grow properly. But when you carefully say no to weeds and distractions, the right plants flourish, and the garden becomes strong and fruitful. Your mind, your time, and your energy are that soil. Protect them with vigilance, or they will be consumed by things that have no right to grow in your future. Most people never change their destiny because they never change their yes. They keep saying yes to the same patterns, the same friends who hold them back, the same habits that steal their energy, the same thoughts that keep them doubting. And then they wonder why tomorrow looks just like yesterday. If you want tomorrow to look different, your yes must look different today. You must recognize that every yes is a contract with your future. When you agree to something, you are not just spending time in the present, you are investing in what your future will look like. Say yes to the wrong thing today, and you may delay your growth for years. Say yes to the right challenge, the right opportunity, the right discipline, and you will shift your destiny forever. The choice looks small in the moment, but its impact is massive. Fear, anger, doubt, frustration, insecurity, these are emotions every human being experiences, and for most people, these emotions become chains. They treat them as barriers, as enemies, as signs that something is wrong. But the truth is, negative feelings are not here to stop you, they are here to fuel you. If you learn how to redirect them, they can become the very energy that pushes you to rise above your limitations. The problem is not the existence of negative emotions, because everyone has them. The problem is how you interpret them, how you respond to them, and how you choose to use them. Fear, for example, is one of the most misunderstood emotions in the world. People believe fear is a signal to stop, a red light that warns them they are not ready. But fear is often nothing more than a sign that you are on the edge of growth. The things you are most afraid of are usually the things that have the power to expand your life the most. Public speaking, starting a business, moving into a new environment, making a big decision. Fear surrounds all of these because they involve stepping beyond comfort. If you run from fear, you shrink your life. If you face fear and use it as fuel, you expand your life. Fear gives you energy, a heightened state of awareness, a rush of adrenaline. Instead of letting that energy paralyze you, direct it into action, and it will become your greatest ally. Anger is another emotion that, if not understood, can destroy relationships, opportunities, and even your health. But when anger is harnessed, it can be one of the most powerful drivers of transformation. Anger tells you that something is not acceptable, that something must change. People who build great movements, who challenge injustice, who break cycles of limitation, they are often fueled by the fire of anger, not passive contentment. The difference is in direction. Uncontrolled anger burns bridges, but channeled anger builds revolutions. When you feel anger, instead of exploding destructively, ask yourself, how can I use this fire to create, to build, to move forward? That shift in perspective can turn an emotion that usually destroys into an energy that uplifts. Doubt is perhaps the most common and the most poisonous negative feeling. Doubt whispers that you are not ready, that you are not good enough, that you will fail. Many people surrender to it, allowing doubt to talk them out of opportunities before they even try. But doubt can also be the perfect motivator. If you feel doubtful, it simply means you are entering unknown territory, and unknown territory is where growth lies. Instead of letting doubt control you, let it challenge you. Use it as a reason to prepare harder, to study deeper, to work smarter, to sharpen your skills. Doubt can push you to excellence if you refuse to let it paralyze you. Frustration, too, can be a gift in disguise. Frustration means you are not satisfied, that something inside you knows there is more you are capable of. People who are satisfied never grow, but people who are frustrated seek solutions. They innovate, they adapt, they push boundaries. Frustration can either break you down into hopelessness or push you forward into breakthrough. It all depends on whether you see it as a signal of defeat or a signal of possibility. Negative feelings are like raw energy. Left uncontrolled, they will destroy. But when directed with purpose, they become a force for creation. The key is not to avoid them, but to transform them. When you feel fear, instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I succeed?" When you feel anger, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I build from this fire?" When you feel doubt, instead of believing the lie, ask, "What skills can I sharpen to prove this doubt wrong?" And when you feel frustration, instead of giving up, ask, "What is this emotion trying to teach me about my potential?" It's important to realize that every negative emotion has a positive twin hidden inside it. Fear hides courage. Anger hides passion. Doubt hides humility. Frustration hides innovation. If you strip away the surface, you find the gift inside the feeling. Most people never take the time to dig deeper, so they drown in the surface storm instead of finding the hidden treasure. Think of the most successful people in the world. They did not succeed because they never felt negative emotions. They succeeded because they felt them, embraced them, and transformed them into power. Athletes use fear of losing to train harder. Leaders use anger at injustice to create change. Innovators use frustration with the present to invent the future. Ordinary people become extraordinary when they decide to no longer be victims of their feelings, but masters of their energy. The mind has the ability to reframe anything. What looks like a curse today can be reframed as a challenge, and once it becomes a challenge, it becomes a game you can win. Instead of telling yourself, "I'm scared," tell yourself, "I'm excited." Instead of saying, "I'm angry," say, "I'm passionate." Instead of saying, "I doubt myself," say, "I'm preparing myself." That shift in language changes your relationship with the emotion, and once the relationship changes, The emotion stops being an enemy and starts being a partner. Negative feelings will never disappear completely. They are part of being human, but they are not here to control you. They are here to serve you. When you understand that every negative emotion carries a hidden gift, you no longer fear them, you embrace them, you channel them, and you use them as energy to keep moving forward. Most people wait for big opportunities before they decide to take action. They imagine that one day the right chance will appear, a door will open, and suddenly life will transform. But life doesn't work that way. Growth doesn't come from rare, massive events. It comes from the small, consistent challenges you choose to face every single day. The truth is, daily micro challenges create lifelong change. It is not about climbing a mountain in one leap. It is about taking one small step after another, consistently, until you find yourself standing at the peak. Think about how habits are formed. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly have the discipline, the strength, or the skill you need. Those qualities are built brick by brick, through repeated small actions that feel uncomfortable in the moment, but compound into power over time. Waking up 30 minutes earlier may not feel like much today, but over a year, it gives you over 7 extra days of productivity. Reading 10 pages of a book may not feel significant right now, but if you repeat it daily, you finish dozens of books in a year, gaining knowledge that can shift your mindset entirely. Speaking up once in a meeting may seem small, but if you challenge yourself to do it consistently, your confidence grows until you naturally become a leader. Small challenges create invisible momentum, and this momentum, though often unnoticed, is the very force that reshapes destiny. The reason small daily challenges are so powerful is because they bypass resistance. If you tell yourself you must completely change your life overnight, your mind rebels. It feels impossible, overwhelming, too heavy to carry. But if you tell yourself to take one small step today, your mind agrees. And once you take one step, the next becomes easier. Momentum builds not from giant leaps, but from a steady rhythm of small victories. Each time you win a small battle, you strengthen your identity as someone who doesn't quit, someone who grows, someone who challenges themselves. Most people underestimate the compounding effect of these micro-challenges. They think only big actions matter, so they dismiss the power of small daily decisions. But life is not transformed by one giant action. It is transformed by thousands of tiny ones. Success is built in the shadows, in the moments when no one is watching, when you quietly choose to push yourself instead of giving in. That is why champions are made not in the spotlight, but in the unseen hours of practice, training, discipline, and persistence. Daily micro challenges also train your mind to handle discomfort. Every time you do something uncomfortable on purpose, you stretch your capacity for resilience. You may start with something as simple as taking a cold shower, resisting an unhealthy craving, or pushing yourself through the last 5 minutes of exercise. These may seem insignificant, but they teach your brain that discomfort is not fatal, that you can feel resistance and still move forward. Over time, you stop fearing discomfort and begin embracing it as a signal of growth. When bigger challenges eventually appear in life, you are already trained, already conditioned to lean into them rather than run away. Another power of daily challenges is that they create clarity. By setting small goals and pushing through them, you begin to recognize what matters most to you. You learn about your strengths, your weaknesses, and your patterns. Maybe you discover that you procrastinate in the morning, so you set a micro challenge to start your hardest task before checking your phone. Maybe you realize that your energy drops in the afternoon, so you set a challenge to walk or meditate instead of reaching for sugar or caffeine. These small adjustments teach you how to master yourself. And self-mastery is the ultimate foundation of destiny. The key is to design challenges that stretch you but don't break you. They should feel uncomfortable but achievable. If they are too easy, you don't grow. If they are too difficult, you give up. The sweet spot is where you feel just enough resistance that you know you are building strength. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes effortless, and you raise the bar again. This is how growth compounds, by constantly expanding what you consider normal. Think of it this way: if you improve just 1% each day, in 1 year you will be 30, 7 times better than when you started. 1% may not feel like much today, but compounded daily, it rewrites your future. The same principle applies in every area of life: health, finances, relationships, confidence, skills. The small challenges you choose today quietly accumulate, and one day you wake up realizing you have built a life that once seemed impossible. Waiting for big opportunities is a trap because it keeps you passive, but choosing daily challenges keeps you active, alive, and in control. Every day becomes a chance to test yourself, to stretch your limits, to build the habits that shape your identity. You don't need luck. You don't need the perfect timing. You don't need someone else to hand you a chance. You need only to take the small chances already in front of you. The power lies in choosing them, embracing them, and repeating them until they transform you.